Zach Wilson's career is officially over. On Sunday, the Jets were going up against an inconsistent Bills team, and overall, the Bills are a very beatable team, and the Jets knew that. On top of that, this game was a need-to-win situation for the Jets. Going into the game, the Bills had a .500 record sitting at 5-5, and the Jets, on the other hand, were at 4-5. This is a really unique situation. The Bills and the Jets are both in the AFC East fighting for second place behind the Dolphins. If the Jets were to win, the Jets would have a .500 record at 5-5, and then that would bring the Bills to 5-6, being a worse record. The Jets winning would have put them in front of the Bills for second place in their division behind the Dolphins. Also, the Jets beat the Bills in Week 1, 22-16. Winning this one would have put them above the Bills if it ever came down to a tie. But now, with the Bills winning 32-6, the Jets are now 500 against the Bills. And if it ever came down to it, the Bills would most likely win the tiebreaker due to a higher point difference. The stakes could not have been higher for this game, and Robert Saleh knew that. Saleh and a lot of others thought that Zach Wilson could handle a big game like this, but they could not have been more wrong. Zach Wilson had an absolutely horrible performance. He couldn't get off throws quickly, he couldn't make reads, he couldn't extend plays, and he just overall made a lot of dumb plays. Before he was replaced by Tim Boyle, Wilson threw 7 for 15 for 81 yards with a touchdown and an interception. It was pretty obvious that the offense just couldn't make anything happen. And while Zach Wilson was the main reason for this, I do want to address the offensive line. The Jets have one, if not the worst offensive line in the league, and it should be noted. There are a lot of times where Zach Wilson has less than 2 seconds to throw, and that's solely on the offensive line. But there's also a lot of times where Wilson has 3 to 4 seconds in the pocket and he still makes a bad read. So I wouldn't diss on the offensive line too much. This game was probably 75% blown by quarterback play on the Jets. Tim Boyle didn't look that good at all either. He threw 7 for 14 with 33 yards and an interception, and that's where the Jets really just need to figure things out. Zach Wilson has time and time again proven to be a bad starting quarterback, so when Aaron Rodgers went out for the first game, Robert Saleh and the Jets front office should have immediately been looking to trade for a decent quarterback to come in. Even if Zach Wilson was still going to be the starter, having someone like Tim Boyle as the backup is just asking to lose every single game. And with Aaron Rodgers showing great signs of early improvement, it was in the Jets' best interest to try and have the best season possible. But no. Before the season started, Mike White was sent to the Dolphins, and no further effort was made into bringing in any other quarterbacks after Tim Boyle. To me, I think this was just the stupidest decision you could ever make. You know Zach Wilson won't get the job done, so go make a trade. There are so many quarterbacks that would have been better to start the season. Mike White, Joe Flacco, Matt Ryan, Andy Dalton, and Joshua Dobbs are just a few of the quarterbacks that would have been good fits for this team. And this is just really sad to me. Rodgers is rushing his recovery to come back and help the Jets compete. He's literally trying to recover within 3 months, while an Achilles tear is usually an 8-month or more recovery process. He's doing all of this just for the Jets to finish the season with a bad losing record, missing the playoffs once again. And to be honest, I feel really bad for all the Jets fans out there. Braden, you guys have been through so many years of bad draft picks and quarterback flops, and then when you see that the defense and the offense are actually coming together, you pay a lot of money and a lot of draft picks to bring in a star quarterback in Aaron Rodgers to wrap it all together, just to have him hurt within 4 plays. Going back to the Bills game on Sunday, the Jets defense was actually playing quite well. They held the Bills to field goals on many of their first few drives, but since the offense couldn't stay on the field, the Jets defense eventually just got too tired and gave up quite a few more points to end the game. So what I'm trying to say is that for the most part, Zach Wilson completely threw the game for the Jets. Now for the rest of the season, the Jets have a decent schedule with a few hard games and a few easy games, but overall, I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs, and they probably should consider not letting Rodgers come back and having him go through the full recovery process. With all of this being said, I still think that the Jets have a pretty bright future. If you really think about it, the Jets have a lot of young talent. They have Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, just to name a couple, and most of their team is filled with this young talent. All they need is a healthy Rodgers and a better O-line, and they will be Super Bowl contenders for the next few years. But I also think in the future that the Jets should consider eventually trading Rodgers, or Rodgers might even retire. And honestly, as a Cardinals fan, this hurts me to say it, but I think Kyler Murray would be a very, very, very good fit for this Jets team. Having a scrambling quarterback like Murray on this amazing offense, it would literally be unstoppable. And then the Jets defense would come on the field to holding the other team to a 3-and-out just for Kyler Murray to go back to work. I think we all saw this coming, but after 3 years of second chances, Robert Saleh and the Jets are finally done with Zach Wilson.